freaking first cut. Golly. Welcome to the First Cut podcast. I'm Rick Gehman, and this is your recap episode for this week's WGC Dell Technologies match play. Greg, I was so confused there. I almost forgot to call it a podcast because I was just looking at the fans. I was just reading the comments of the fans just getting ready to obliterate us thanks to their very nice Scottie Scheffler selection.
They've just been waiting. We were talking about just before we came on. I mean, they're chatting at us at 6:30, a half hour before it starts, just waiting to let us have it. And we deserve it. We deserve it.
That's great, DuCharme. Kyle Porter is here. KP, I was so flustered out of the gate because I'm just nervous about what the chat has for us this evening.
Yeah, it's not going to be a good scene. It's going to be tough for me to handle, probably most of all. It's funny because I picked Zalatoris to win this week, and all week I thought that I had him in one and done also. I don't know if you guys ever do that. I thought the guy who I picked, I also had in one and done. And so I'm like living and dying with every Zalatoris shot on Saturday. And then I looked it up and I was like, oh, I have Shane Lowry. He was out like 2 days ago. So not only did I get passed, but I'm also an idiot. And maybe that's why I got passed. So here we are.
Here we are, and we had ourselves quite a day. We played down to the champion from the Final Four, and when the dust settled, Greg, it was Scottie Scheffler who not only reigned supreme, but took away the crown of the number one golfer in the world from Jon Rahm. He did that by beating Dustin Johnson in the morning 3-1, and then defeating Kevin Kisner in the finals.
It's a pretty good, this is a pretty harsh road he had to get through. Yes. I mean, his group was brutal. He takes down the buzz Ian Poulter in the first match again, like he did last year. Fleetwood actually beats him. Then Fitzpatrick, who has been playing phenomenal golf. I mean, we talked about earlier in the week, he's first on tour in strokes gained total. And so he handles him, and then has to go in a 6 or 7 hole playoff against him advance, 6-hole playoff to advance. And then you get Horschel, who's the defending champion, who's been playing great. Seamus Power was on paper a little bit softer, and then DJ and Kevin Kisner, who just owns this place. It's a really tough road. I'm not sure you can get an easy road in this tournament, but that was specifically tough. And I think for me personally, it's why I kind of stayed away from him, because his group was so hard coming in. I was worried Fitzpatrick would clip him. And it almost happened. He went in a playoff. So it's not like he wiped the floor in that group. It just, it scared me. It scared me away from picking him. And here we are.
You can get an easy path. Nothing against Corey Connors winning the consolation bracket, but he gets a free win from Paul Casey, faces Takumi Kanaya in the Sweet 16, Abraham Answer before falling to Kiz in the Final Four there. And then he gets in fairly uninterested Dustin Johnson in the
No, not DJ.
I guess it's a relatively easy path. It's relatively speaking. But even still, Rick, I mean, you can run into a situation where Takumi Kanaya makes 6 birdies. So that's possible. And everybody in this field is capable of that, which is the challenge. And I think that's why it's so hard to predict outcomes. And it's so impressive when somebody like Scottie plays the way he did all week long.
Yeah, all week long, all day long on Sunday, KP. He's just barnstorming DJ out of the gate in the Final Four. It got hairy for a bit, but he was able to close it out. And then in the finals against Kevin Kisner, he hit kind of one wonky shot where he chipped it directly into the bunker in front of him, and then he just holed out from there to make up for it. Scottie Scheffler seemingly on an all-time heater at the moment.
Well, and I just got done writing about the matches, and there wasn't even really any moments to like usually when stuff happen, when an event happens, you describe, like last week, Burns getting up and down on 17 or making the putt in the playoff or whatever. There wasn't even anything to describe with Scheffler because he led for 32 of the 33 holes on Sunday. And so you're like, well, he made a bunch of birdie. Like there wasn't like one moment that stood out, but he was emblematic of his whole week. He finished, I think, 5th in the field in strokes gained tee to green per round. You got to you got to do it per round because everybody plays a different amount of rounds. But he was really good from tee to green. And then, I mean, looking back, once he got past Fitzpatrick in that playoff that Greg mentioned, the 6-hole playoff, I think he played 68 holes on the weekend and he trailed for like 5 of them. So 68 holes over 4 matches, and he was either tied or led for like 63 or 64 of them, which is just, I mean, it's kind of remarkable. And I think Scheffler's so, I was just texting with somebody about this. He's so like unassuming. And I mean, obviously he's great. We came into the year talking about like, he needs to win because he's so good, and he needs the wins to kind of not validate, but like for people to realize how good he actually is, at least statistically, and how good he's been. But he's kind of unassuming. He's not somebody that you get into a match play situation with and you're like, oh, I'm terrified of Scheffler. But when he leads for like, or is tied for 63 of 68 holes, maybe you should be, especially the way he's been playing at Austin Country Club.
Third victory of the season, Greg. Third victory of the season. Third victory in his last 5 starts. So add this one to the WM Phoenix Open, the Arnold Palmer Invitational, which, by the way, those are 2 stout fields. The strength of fields in both of those are ridiculous. And thanks to this run, and not just this run, because we can pull up the results here from major championships and stuff like that. Thanks to this run, Scottie Scheffler is going to jump from the number 5 player in the world to the number 1 player in the world, seemingly out of nowhere. There were so many situations over the course of the last couple of weeks and months where it was Morikawa could get there, Victor could get there, so-and-so could get there. Cantlay had a chance to get there at the Players' Championship. Now Scottie Scheffler is the new king of golf.
Yes, and it's so interesting. The way that you get there, we talked about it a little bit last night, Rick, where he just kind of ran through the door. And there wasn't a long period of time. There wasn't a lot of anticipation of, oh, Scottie Scheffler has a chance to be world number 1. Yeah. And so it's not on the forefront of his mind. And all of a sudden, he's concentrated on the things that have gotten him there. And they're so fresh and relevant and working, and he's playing well. He's riding the heater. And all of a sudden, he's going to wake up tomorrow and be world number 1. There wasn't the anticipation. And if he hadn't done it, and next week or at the Masters, he has a chance to be world number 1. And then the week after that, there's a chance to be world number 1. The longer that stretch goes, the more difficult it gets, the higher the pressure rises. And I think that's what Hovland and Morikawa faced a little bit. Although, I mean, those are pretty recent too. But look, this was the world number 1 conversation is fascinating. And I'd love to get Kyle's thoughts on it, because he's not a guy that you picture as, oh, he'll be world number 1 one day. Yeah. He's going to be great, but is he going to be the best in the world one day?
Well, let's look back real quick, Jacob, to that the youngest one here, because KP, let me point this out for people who are not watching on YouTube. Yeah. Youngest players to reach number 1 in the official World Golf rankings. Scottie Scheffler, the 6th youngest to do it. The only guys who have done it in that 25-year or earlier. Some pretty big names: Tiger Woods, Jordan Spieth, Rory McIlroy, Justin Thomas, John Rahm. Now Scottie Scheffler adds his name to that list.
I mean, and this is what I was texting with my friend about, who kind of covered him in junior golf. I was like, hey, was this his trajectory? Because I remember Scheffler playing in, I think it was Erin Hills, the 2017 US Open at Erin Hills. And you're like, oh, this is a cool story, like good college player. And the guy that I was texting that covered him was like, no, this was not, like, he's good. I mean, obviously, he's always been good, but not like, and this is kind of my point, is the names on this list are like, you kind of knew from when they were 15 or 18 or 20 or whatever, like, hey, that's a world number 1, right? I mean, obviously Tiger, but Rory is in that. Rahm, I mean, how many times has Phil talked about, hey, that's a world number 1? Like, you get categorized as that type of guy. And I've literally never heard anybody say that about Scottie Scheffler, right? Until like yesterday. Hey, he's a world number 1 type player. Well, where was that the last 3 or 4 years? And so I think that, and part of the emotion that you saw from him, I think, was just like, it's pretty overwhelming to be one of the 25 guys that have, I mean, there's only been 9 Americans that have ever been ranked number 1 in the world. Yeah. And it was cool to see that emotion, not only from him, but from like his dad and his family at the event. I wonder, like, have we been underrating Scottie Scheffler's ceiling? Because I look at the ceilings on this list, maybe Martin Keimer aside, and you're like, those are really, really high ceilings. Or is he a little bit of an outlier that things kind of came together at the right time and he became world number one, but he doesn't really have the same type of ceiling as everybody else on this list?
Yeah, Jacob, hit us with that wiki page again. My apologies, because I think the conversation, there you go. So this is Scottie Scheffler's results at major championships. And Greg, I think the underlying story that a lot of people who aren't really paying attention, or who, I don't know, are going to say that, how can a guy win 3 times in 5 starts, just this quick little heater, and be the number 1 player in the world? Is there a flaw? Is there an issue with our ranking system? But there's a couple of things, and I've written about this before. I've talked about this before. Scottie's best results are in these huge strength of field events where he gets massive points. And we're looking at his wiki page here, Greg. I mean, that is what, 4 top 10s in major championships in his last 6 major starts?
And 20s.
Say again, Kyle?
And all 6 are top 20s.
All 6 are top 20s, yes.
Right. And it's not even, it goes even beyond just the majors. It's the WGCs. I mean, he just won one, but even last year, 2nd in the match play, 5th in the 5th at the concession. He's it's constant. 3rd at the Memorial last year, right? These are the biggest events. 14th at the WGC. I'm just scrolling through now, and all of the really low numbers next to his name are big events. And he has a way of stepping up for these big events in a way that is pretty cool. And what I've noticed with him in this last 6 weeks or so is the things that I thought would hold him back. Like does he have the killer instinct, if you will? That's the buzzword everybody uses. Does he have the killer instinct to win? And when the guy hasn't won, it looks like his way, his style may be holding him back. But now that he's won 3 of his last 5 starts, those things suddenly look like great assets and great attributes. And that unassuming way that he carries himself keeps him calm. And from a guy that I always thought would kind of fade at the end of tournaments and would fatigue, even though he put himself there, which is great, he'd fade. It seems like now all of a sudden he is getting this energy down the stretch. And where the putting was good until the end, now the putting gets better at the end. And those 8-foot putts that he might miss that could really throw the momentum, he makes. And when the confidence, when like 16 is a great example, he is bleeding to Dustin Johnson. He is losing, and it's panic time. I can't believe I'm going to lose a 5-up lead. I can't believe this is happening to me. He doesn't do that. He just flags it at 16 like it's nothing, because he stays calm, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. And my perception has changed dramatically from from analyzing the way that he performs under pressure. It's changed seemingly overnight, which is really cool.
Well, 2 observations here that kind of work against him a little bit, I think, in this conversation. One, his swing is not like, you don't watch his swing and you're like, hey, world number 1 right there, right? Like you don't watch it and think like Morikawa, JT, Rory, whatever. And then the other thing, and this gets joked about a lot, but like, he doesn't look like cool, right? He doesn't exude like swag. I mean, he dresses like he's like my age, like almost 40. He looks like he's almost 40. So, and that sounds ridiculous, but I think it factors in a little bit to like, when we talk about best players under 25, I forget that he's 25 all the time, because he looks like he's not, and I think that's an interesting part of it. I'll tell you when it started flipping for me, Greg, and I jokingly tweeted about this when I was at the Ryder Cup. I was following his match with Rahm, and I said, hey, I can confirm that the match between the best player in the world and Jon Rahm is very electric. And I was kidding, but also like, he kind of went at Rahm in a way that you're like, wait a second. Like, I know, like, I think because he hadn't won, he felt like one of those like statistical heroes where you're like, but look at his stats, and you're like, yeah, but does he win? Like, does he like go and like get it done? And Rahm was so Herculean that week that when Scheffler like went at him and just lit him up, you're like, wow, like this is maybe not who I thought he was based on his inability to win so far. And so I think maybe I didn't give it as much credit at the time because Rahm didn't play that well. But I think in retrospect, that was like that for me feels like an inflection point of like, okay, this guy is maybe different than what I thought he was.
And there's a really interesting thing about that match. What did he make 4 birdies in a row to start that match or something?
I think so.
It was a crazy start. And we were talking about his performance in big events. And this is where Scottie really does, aside from the cool factor, aside from his looks, he is the modern golfer in a way that when tournaments get hard and courses get hard and fields get really good and you're thinking the strategy is to be a little more conservative. Par's a good score, that kind of attitude. And he completely washes that away. And he plays really aggressive and he makes a ton of birdies. And what we're starting to see is when the pressure rises, that aspect of his game gets better. Instead of, okay, well, now all of a sudden I'm going to change my course of action. Like we talk about it with him in DFS all the time, how many birdies and eagles he makes.
Yeah.
And it's from that aggressive style. And when the pressure is ramping up, what he's doing now is he's starting to make more of those. He's starting to take on shots even more, but he performs better under the pressure. And I think that's what he did against Rahm. And now it's carried over to regular tournament play.
He's an underrated iron player too. I think you watch him and you think like, oh, he's just really long and maybe he'll get hot with the putter every once in a while. But his strength, at least thus far professionally, has been iron play. Like he's really, really good. And I mean, he's not Morikawa good, but I think he's underrated good with his irons. And I mean, you can't finish top 20 in 6 straight majors without being a really, really good iron player at some of the places that these major championships have gone to. So, I mean,
he's good everywhere. I mean, every aspect is good.
He is good. And I think, I don't know, it's so interesting because it's so easy to be like, because I think when you say he's good everywhere, I start immediately comparing to like Xander and Cantlay, and like take Scheffler against Xander. I'm like, well, maybe Scheffler just win. Maybe he's just got like, what it takes to win. I hate that narrative, but like maybe that's a thing. I don't know. But then you could turn around and you could make a legitimate argument that Scottie Scheffler won't win for the next 3 years just because of how much luck and randomness and everything that's involved in all of this. So it's so hard to predict. I think for me on Sunday, it was more like the celebration of somebody who genuinely seems like they love golf. And I don't know if you guys saw this, but he hugged his dad afterward, and his son just became the number 1 player in the world. And his dad said, "I'm more proud of who you are than of your golf." And you're like, oh my gosh, like this, how much do I want to root for this guy? I thought that was a really cool moment and just a really cool 6 weeks for Scottie Scheffler.
The meteoric rise to the number 1 player in the world is hard to quantify, but Justin Ray has done it. So he notes that Scottie Scheffler reaches the world's number 1 just 42 days after his first PGA or DP World Tour victory. So 42 days, the shortest gap previously between those two things all time is Tiger Woods, 252 days. The next shortest, David Duval, 532 days. So we are in uncharted territory with how quickly someone has gotten their first victory and become the number 1 player in the world. Final thoughts on Scottie Scheffler before we move on to his opponent in the finals, Kevin Kisner?
He's made $6.2 million in 42 days, which seems good.
Yeah. I'm in a pool where it's like we do earnings and I do not have Scottie Scheffler, and the guy who does is just running away from everybody right now.
Well, and the other thing about that is money aside, I mean, we need to erase these tapes, but all 3 of us, I think, coming into the year, were like, man, Scheffler needs to win soon, like to validate some stuff. And now it's like,
right.
Scheffler wins a lot. Like he's won,
right.
He's won 3 times in, I think, 70 75 PGA Tour starts, which is a ton. Like that is what 4.5%, something like that. That's a lot on the PGA Tour. So we went from, hey, Scheffler needs to win to, oh, he actually wins a lot of the time, which, you know, we have to talk about it, but it also goes to show like how quickly things can change.
But that's why we talk about it. Lastly here, we ask for these guys to do it because of this, because this is the potential that is there. We want guys to reach their potential. And when you do reach your potential, there's something beautiful that happens, and we want to see it. So that is very interesting to me. And if this is what we root for a Xander and a Cantlay, well, maybe a Cantlay not included, but a Xander, a Finau, a Fowler, we root for that for this reason.
Yeah.
Scottie Scheffler defeated Kevin Kisner in the finals. Kevin Kisner is the match play god, apparently, KP. He is just unbelievable. Now, that final match struggled a little bit. I had him at, I think, even par for 15 holes. He never led once to Scottie Scheffler. It was kind of an uphill battle over the last 15 holes, but not to brush anything away from what Kevin Kisner has been able to accomplish at Austin Country Club and has been able to accomplish in this format, because he is something special like in this.
Yeah, he's awesome. And, you know, I was interested in his comments on, I think it was Saturday night. Let me see if I can pull him up here. He was talking about, you know, I think it's easy to conflate a guy being good on a specific course with a guy being good at match play. And I think that Kisner is really good on this course because it's not 7,600 yards, right? It's 6,800, 6,900. And he's just, I've got the quote right here. He said, I think this course is great for match play. There's a lot of risk reward. I think he said, I don't feel like I'm behind the 8-ball on the first tee from a distance standpoint. I haven't played a single person yet in 5 matches that hits it anywhere remotely close to the same distance as me. On the 11th tee, I tried to cut a 6-iron and Will Zalatoris hit a 9-iron and flew it past me. In a lot of events, I'm dead in the water. I'm behind the 8-ball before I tee off. I love that I can work the ball, use the slopes, use the firmness of the fairways and the greens to help me. So I think it speaks to 2 things. I think it speaks to, one, how good I think Kisner's success speaks to how good this course is for this format. And I think it speaks to like how much better or more fun it would be if more courses were kind of set up like this, instead of disproportionately rewarding distance, right? And it's hard because like then you start getting into like the distance debate and all these different things. But I think this course was awesome, and I think Kisner is awesome at it. But that doesn't necessarily translate to, because people, whenever he plays here, it's like, oh, he's got to be on the Ryder Cup team. And he literally said last night, if it's at Bethpage, I can't be on the team. I should not be on the team. I will not be on the team. He literally said that on Saturday night. And you're like, yeah, that makes total sense. It's such a different type of course. And Greg can speak to this better than I can, but it's such a different type of course than one is normally played in Ryder Cups and President's Cups, and 2 is normally played on the PGA Tour. And I think I mean, he had some shots this week where he used the slopes. Like there was one shot on Saturday where I would have just hit it right at the pin, and he hits it like 30 yards to the left, runs it up this bank and gets to 8 feet and makes the putt. And you're like, this is awesome. Like that's what I want to watch in golf. And he did that a lot this week.
I love the shot that he hit on 18 in, who was that against? Connors? The one where he played it, he pitched it up long left and it got right up to the top of the slope and released back and clinched the match. It was so cool. That creative aspect was really put on display. But I think, Kyle, your points are really valid. I do think there are more golf courses on the PGA Tour than people think that really fit his style.
Yeah.
I think it's a healthy amount. But that being said, this is exactly what we see in Open Championships, where wind becomes a big factor. Wind and slope, in a way, can play they ask for similar things. They ask you to keep the ball on the ground, get the ball down, use the balls moving when it's on the ground. And so really accurate players have some success in that. And when you get on this kind of course, you're not losing anything because you can't carry it over bunkers. You're able to play. There's an option to play around bunkers and utilize the slopes, as you mentioned, to be creative. But in order to do that, you have to be able to hit the spot. And he hits the spot. He's really accurate. I mean, he's 4th on tour in driving accuracy this year. So those things were put on display this week. But along with his, fiery determination, which I think is underrated in this. Hey, I know I'm on a course that fits me, but I'm not going to lose. And you see that against Adam Scott in that comeback. I'm not going to lose today. I'll hole a bunker shot. I'll make a 30-footer. I'll hit fairways and greens. I'll get a lead early and hit fairways and greens and close you out. I'll scramble if I'm coming from behind. I'm going to fight like a dog to beat you. And that's exactly what he did this week until the very end. And so I give him so much credit. He's so fun to watch in this event.
Kisner's only top 5 at a major Open Championship.
Yeah, that would make sense.
2018 was what, Carnoustie, I think.
Yeah.
Francesco
bouncing like crazy.
Yeah,
Tiger led on the back 9.
Yeah. Oh, that was crazy.
Oh, we're going to talk about Tiger. We're going to talk about him a little bit later. I also need to talk about the guys in the consolation match. That's Dustin Johnson. It's Corey Connors. But first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. Corey Connors downs Dustin Johnson in the consolation match. They shouldn't call it the consolation match. They should call it the third place match. It's for third place. There's a lot of money on the line, a lot of FedEx Cup points on the line. And in doing so, KP, today he became the first Canadian in tournament history to advance to the semifinals. He was striping it all over the yard for most of the week. He rolled in some timely putts, ran out of that little putter magic probably here on Sunday, but he is still going to earn a lot of money, a lot of points, and a big time finish.
Yeah, he was good. He did have, I felt like we mentioned this earlier, a little bit of an easier path. I mean, when he played Takumi Kanaya on Saturday morning, at one point, Takumi Kanaya had more putts than feet of putts made, which is not good.
I did not know that, but every time they showed him, he was missing like a 3-footer, and I was like, oh my God.
Through 8 holes, I looked this up. I happened to look it up at the exact right time because you can't tell like retroactively, right. But through 8 holes, he had 18 putts and 17 feet of putts made.
Oh boy,
that's impossible, right?
You would think, but
that's really, really difficult.
So that means he was missing. So that means he was basically missing everything, tapping everything in from 1 foot, but he also had to have missed at least one really short one, right?
Well, you have some 3-footers, right?
He could have lagged something to like 6 inches.
Yeah, he could. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
Or you have a couple 3 putts in there too. That adds to your putt total.
Yeah,
I guess you're throwing the holes in there.
You're tapping in from instead of 1 foot. If you're tapping in from 2 inches, it's like
yeah.
Okay.
So anyway, not good. The thing that stood out to me about Connors is, and this is an obvious observation, but like his tempo is just so good. I mean, I think that you when you think of him, you think about that like off the tee or with his long irons. But even I was watching him against DJ on Sunday, like his wedges are just the tempo and like how tight they were around those holes was just unbelievable. I mean, I don't know how he's putting this year, but just like he has to be the ultimate team no putt guy, right? Like if he was just average, and he seems to not have the weeks that Morikawa has, where Morikawa will be like the 3rd best putter in the field for a week and win the tournament, and Connors just doesn't seem to have that. So I thought he was impressive. He wasn't, to me, as impressive as DJ, just because of the path that he kind of took to do it. Even though he beat DJ, but I think I walked away more excited about DJ's near future based on how he played this week than I am with Connors.
Well, it might be the immediate future for Corey Connors as he goes back to a place next week that he's won at. The Valero Texas Open, his only victory. Maybe he just parlays this into some success there. But Dustin Johnson had himself a nice week as well, Greg, and it was a gauntlet path for him to make a run at this thing. And we're starting to see signs of life. Dustin Johnson, who's been kind of a big question mark for the last 12 months, starting to put more and more really good rounds together. And I checked my calendar. We are getting dangerously close to the Masters.
Yeah, which has me so excited. And we talked about it a little bit last night as well. The thing about DJ that I saw this week was that extra gear where you can just start going crazy and make birdie after birdie after birdie. I mean, 2 matches, they happen to be in a row against Max Homa and against Richard Bland, where he makes 7 birdies. Poor Richard Bland just got the full DJ experience.
Yeah,
I mean, he just boat raced him.
And it was like Bland got out like 2 up early and was like, "Oh, okay, this might be going well."
He's not that good.
Watch this.
Yeah. And so I saw that that upside from DJ this week, that firepower, that ability to start striping it at the flag and striping it off the tee. And it's just the one thing right now with DJ is it's a little sloppy at times, which you get away with in match play, but there's some short misses, some short game shots that weren't great. It killed me to see him miss the putt against Scheffler on 16, because that comeback was furious, and it felt like such an exhale. I wish if they had that hole, it went to 17 and Scheffler made birdie, that would have been fine. But to miss a 4-footer to basically end it was really disappointing. But I'm seeing with DJ extremely high upside. If he cleans it up a little bit, Scottie Scheffler may want to check the rearview mirror for DJ coming from, 10th, 11th right now, right where he was at the start of the year. So it could flip fast if DJ plays like this and cleans it up around the greens.
Yeah, KP, DJ is, so I was looking this up, and this is something that we can kind of get into the Augusta stuff here in a second. You have tweeted this out before where like the 90 days leading into the Masters has been full of guys that end up winning it. Like if you're getting hot, like the 90 days leading into it or whatever it is leading up to it. And I was doing a little bit of early research. We've never had more guys who have gained like a stroke and a half per round in the 90 days leading up to it. So we just have so many guys playing well. And now you can throw Dustin Johnson into the mix. And a lot of times the winner of the green jacket comes out of that group of guys who are playing well in the 90 days leading into it.
Totally. And I think it's interesting because you think of guys, even like if I throw Rory's name out there, you're like, I don't know. He's playing fine, but I bet he's in that group. Like he played really well at the beginning of the year on the European Tour, the DP, whatever it is. So there's guys that you haven't thought about very much because they haven't won or they haven't really been in the mix. Brooks Koepka has been playing. He's got 3 top 15s in his last 5 starts, I think. He's been hitting the ball well. So it's going to be just, I mean, Augusta's going to be awesome. It always is, but there's nobody that is, I mean, Scheffler, I guess you could say, is kind of out in front of everybody, but everybody else seems to be grouped in this like playing well, but hasn't won, like Rahm, JT, Rory, Koepka, like all these guys that are playing like pretty well, but are not like clear cut. This guy's definitely going to win Augusta, which never happens. But like, there's nobody that's like a clear cut favorite at this point.
Yeah, Scheffler playing well helps the Cam Smith number if you wanted that. Guy's already won twice this year, including the Players' Championship. Greg, let's just jump right into this because the Fried Egg has tweeted out that they've heard from multiple people in South Florida that Tiger Woods has been out walking medalists multiple times this week, and Joey LaCava.
We need a buffer here. Wayne, I can't just jump right into this.
We have to. We must jump right into it. Joey LaCava also in town. You are our resident medalist expert. Does this sound like anything Tiger Woods would be doing?
Yes. Now, I don't have the same connections that I used to have. Like I don't, my era has really left, but when I was there, Tiger was battling injuries and he made a comeback. I was there for 3 years, and there was one point in time where he walked the golf course, and he did it every day for like a week straight. And Joey was there caddying, and it was right before his comeback. He was prepping for the walk, and they would walk 18 holes. They did it for about a week straight. And Joey was carrying the bag for him. And every other round he played in the 3 years I was there, he was in a cart, never walking. So if this is true, and he does have Joey down there and they are walking, this is for a comeback. I'll put it to you this way: it's not for the RBC Heritage. They're not prepping for that. This is for the Masters. He's going to play. If this is true, he's going to play. I can't believe it. I cannot believe.
Remember when he was moving his boat up the Atlantic to play the RBC Heritage, and then he didn't.
He just tricked you. He got you.
I just tell me. Just somebody tell me. I don't want to do like 10 more days of, his jet numbers were spotted in the by the grounds crew, or the what do you call it, the flight
maintenance
crew.
Oh yeah,
At Augusta, at the private Augusta airport. I don't want any of that. Just get that away from me. I just want to know if he's playing.
We're gonna have to find out soon, right? I mean, I guess he could. Literally wait until Thursday morning, right? Like if he shows up, he's obviously going to be.
He won't do that.
That's what I'm saying. He will announce it. Although I guess
this tournament's different than any other and just because of the way it's formatted. It's not like there's an alternate list, right? If he drops out, he just doesn't play, and the field's just one less. So there's not really that obligation where, like, I kind of feel, part of me feels like with Paul Casey this week, well, you took somebody's spot. All right, somebody else could have gotten in there and played. And I know he has the right to try, and he did try. He played 2 holes against Corey Connors, but there's something that doesn't seem right about it. You could at least make the argument where in this event, that doesn't exist. You try if you want, or you withdraw if you want. There's no alternate list. So, I mean, this is going to happen until he hits his first tee shot on Thursday. We're not going to know, because I honestly, I don't think he knows. He's trying to be ready. He's making a push for it if these reports are true. But the only thing we have is he hasn't withdrawn yet. So every day that goes, he hasn't withdrawn. He hasn't withdrawn. He hasn't withdrawn.
He doesn't technically have to commit, Kyle. He can just not show up for his tee time on Thursday morning or whatever, but he doesn't have to commit. He's in the field until he tells us otherwise. So it's not like this Friday deadline before a lot of PGA tournaments.
Exactly.
It's not that situation. He's in. He just has to tell us if he's out.
But I think what's interesting is, I can't believe we're doing this again. I feel like we do this just every freaking year. Like, what's going on with Tiger? Like, he's going to be there, right, for the Champions Dinner. Like, he's at a place where he's capable of, like, traveling and going. Like, he's not going to not be there for that. I think we'll know early in the week if he's playing or not. Like, I don't think it's going to be. Remember when I think it was 2017 when DJ fell down the stairs or whatever happened.
Yeah.
And it was like literally Thursday morning. He went to the first tee, or he went to the range.
He was on the
practice area.
Yeah.
And then he withdrew. It's not going to be that, right?
So let me just prepare everyone, because this is what's going to happen. Okay. So Greg, let's game this out. Greg, I agree with you. If what we're hearing is true, he's walking medalist every day, so-and-so. He's obviously going to play a practice round at Augusta before he makes any decision, right? I mean, that's the next logical
good point
step. So we are going to eventually hear Tiger played 9 holes or Tiger played a practice round at Augusta National today. And I'm just warning everybody right now, because we're going to be at a fever pitch when that news comes out. And that seems like very likely news that we get, whether he plays or not.
And you're going to see him at the practice area.
Yeah.
You're going to see it, and I really, this feels real. Like, the push is real. The thing is, we're waiting to see if there's a setback or if he just at the last second says, it's not ready. I can't make it.
I mean, what's the last OWGR event that he played?
Was it the?
It was the 2020 Masters.
I was going to say it was the Masters in 2020. Yeah, which was the November version.
That's a long time.
Greg, okay, so Kyle has this page up in front of him. Greg, you want to guess what Tiger Woods' OWGR is right now?
Oh, I didn't even look. I'll say 820.
What do you
Wow.
think?
I was gonna say now I feel like I'm gonna be embarrassed. I was gonna say 163.
No.
Don't say that.
No, way down. Okay.
He only has like 8 events that are even counting at the moment.
Yeah, I guess that's a good point. You forget. I mean, you're talking about 2 years, nearly 2 years. So what? 900,
917.
Oh.
917. Yeah, so both.
That's an unfair. That's
I led you to.
You led me. Yeah, I was miles off on that one.
Gosh, I still don't think he's going to play. I mean, it's so, it sounds ridiculous, but when he was talking to Jim Nance at Riviera, he was talking about just needing to walk, and Augusta is not the place where you want to like figure out how to walk again. Right. And not figure out how to walk again. Like,
but if there was a place that you'd be willing to try to figure out how to walk again, it would be Augusta National. That's the flip side of this, right? Like the logical side says, oh, that's a hard walk. If he's already struggling going up and down hills, this is the worst place. But it's like, I wouldn't try to pull off the unachievable for anywhere else but right here.
Okay, so this has been my question, and I think you're bringing up my question right now, which is, as badly as we all want Tiger to play, even though it creates a lot more work for everybody, do you think Tiger is like desperate to play Augusta?
Yeah. I think so. Yes. I mean, Kyle, think about what he talked about, how it was the little things that he really missed, the contact on a spinning wedge shot, or the sound of a bunker shot, the feel of a well-struck iron shot. I mean, these are all the things that us mortals dream about, right? Like our normal people think about when we start getting the itch to play. The same things that he's thinking about, although the feels themselves might be a little bit different. We're thinking of the same things. And
yeah,
he's got to be just dying to compete.
When they rolled him outside to lay on the grass, and he was laying there thinking about one thing, he was thinking about this.
No, I disagree. I think that he was thinking about, like, it almost feels like he was thinking about those little things, about laying on the grass, about the birds chirping. I mean, the things that he said at the Hero World Challenge. And it almost felt like in that moment, and this is what I don't know if it's still true, that Augusta had kind of like passed him by in his mind. Like, he knew that he had already climbed, like, he's not going to win Augusta again. He knew that he had already climbed that mountain for the last time. He basically said as much. And so I just don't know that he's as desperate to play the Masters as everybody else is for him to play the Masters, or as everybody else thinks he is to play the Masters. Maybe he is. I don't know. And I'm really curious about that, because I don't know that I think 31-year-old him would have been desperate, but I don't know that 46 or whatever he is, 45-year-old him is as desperate as everybody thinks.
I just think this is the human, the nature of Tiger Woods. The nature of the beast here is a guy that's always desperate for competition, even when we think he has no reason to be, right? We think, okay, well, Tiger doesn't need to play ever again. He doesn't need to do anything, but Tiger does need to. He, in a way, he is, and I think that's why he played in the PNC father-son. That's why he was hitting balls on the range, because there's a Charlie aspect to it. But I think he's a golf addict like the rest of us, And when it's taken away from you, you realize it's not necessarily about all that you've accomplished. And it's not necessarily just about the trophy case or the record books, but the love of the game.
But that
maybe that's just me being a dreamer.
That would be a turn from like everything else he's ever done in his career, right? It would be, hey, I'm showing up because I want to like be at the event, not because like what does he always say? First question every tournament.
I'm here to win.
Yeah. And so that would be a shift, right? And I'm not.
Yeah.
I think you might be right. I think that we either are seeing or have seen or will see that shift from him of like, hey, I just want to be here. And maybe he still says, I think I can win, but you can't win the Masters after 18 months of not playing, you know.
It's a risky soundbite to put out there, Kyle.
No, it's not.
I'm teasing.
He was like, I had to build up. I had to lead at Carnoustie. I had to win the Tour Championship until I could win the Masters. There's no chance of that. But I do think that would be an interesting like inflection point in his career where it's like, hey, I'm here because I'm a past champion, because I just want to be here and I want to play with JT and I want to play practice rounds and whatever, and not necessarily because I think I can win the golf tournament.
It would almost be more in line with like, I've accomplished all I'm going to accomplish at the Masters. I just want to be here and participate. It would almost be more in line with that. So it is fascinating. If you do think Tiger Woods can win this, Caesar Sportsbook is hanging a 60-1 on him, which is, let's see, shorter than the guy who just finished third at the match play, Corey Connors, shorter than Bubba Watson, Abe Answer, Webb Simpson, Sergio Garcia, Mark Leishman, to name a few. The favorites here, Greg, John Rahm 9-1, Jordan Spieth and Colin Morikawa, along with Justin Thomas, are all 12-1. And then you start to get into Rory and DJ and Cam Smith. I mean, Smith and Scottie Scheffler 16-1, two of the hottest golfers on the planet. It's just an absolute stacked field, and you're going to get some decent odds on that second tier of golfer.
There are so many guys. You know, many of them are on the first page, the first tier. There are just so many guys who I love at the Masters this year. I've had like probably 3 moments where I'm doing unrelated research and I say, oh, this is a master. This is the Masters winner. This guy just looks like a guy that's going to win the Masters. This is what it looks like in that 90 days Kyle talks about all the time. Sergio Garcia, who you just mentioned, is coming to my mind. I mean, there are countless players with who you have to love. I mean, look at Sam Burns. Look at Sam Burns sitting there. I mean, that is crazy.
Come on.
So it's going to be
the best number on here is Koepka 18.
Yeah, he looks really good.
Yeah,
he seems happy to. I know that's kind of corny, but we talked about this, Greg, and we talked about it, Kyle, as well. Like during his pressers or his interviews afterwards, he seemed like he looks healthy. He seems in high spirits. The game looks sharp. Koepka's very dangerous moving forward.
Can you imagine the members when he puts on the green jacket with that blonde hair?
It was the first thing I said when I said he's going to have a shaved head at Augusta at the Masters.
They're going to be just like, what's happening? Why are we doing this?
By then, 10 more days, it'll be like even more. It'll be just like
Frosted Pippi,
quarter-inch, out the top.
Justin Bieber just won the Masters.
I think Zalatoris at 35. I mean, he won back of a playoff of Hideki last year.
And do you see him putt this week?
I did. Yes. He was my pick.
I mean, you said he couldn't. You said he couldn't putt.
He was better this week. Who else? Neiman at 45 is mildly interesting. Adam Scott, does that do anything for you?
Nah, Koepka at 18, Burns at 40, Fitzpatrick at 50 are like my favorites. I mean, you could make a case for all of these guys, but I like the numbers that are attached to those names.
I don't love the third tier. I don't love the third column.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I mean, even Xander. I'm telling you, I was so disappointed in him this week. But then I looked at what happened, and I mean, Tony Finau made 9 birdies against him. And Xander, he played all right. I still don't like Finau, but I think Xander is playing better than people give him credit for. He steps up in majors and at least puts himself in contention. Could he break through? But I think the Koepka numbers.
Speaking
I'm
of
with you guys.
breaking through, and this is the hardest segue I ever have to make from Masters odds to Corrales Punta Cana Resort and Club Championship. But Chad Ramey breaks through for victory in his 16th career tour start. KP, lots of money, FedEx Cup points, and guys who were licking their chops in the alternate field event. Ramey graduates from the Korn Ferry Tour last year. The kid out of Mississippi State gets the job done early in his PGA Tour career.
How old is he? Hold on, I got it right here.
Do you want me to tell you? I have it.
He's 29. So that's the only part of this I don't love is I think that, and I'm looking at his numbers from the PGA Tour from I guess this is partly from this year, and they're not great. And I just like I think it'd be different if he was 22, right? And you're like, oh, he's won a couple of times on the Korn Ferry. Get onto the PGA Tour, see what happens. But 29 is like 4 years older than Scheffler or than 5 years older than Hovland, guys that have already done a ton on the PGA Tour. But still, I mean, it's great for him. It's a great win. Who finished second? I didn't even see.
Smalley? Alex Smalley?
Yeah, Smalley made a run late in it. Ben Martin was up. Ben Martin was trying to go wire to wire. Got like a 70 on Sunday and fell just short. But yeah, there was a couple guys up there. Vegas was in the mix for a while.
So it's a great win for him. I just don't know what it means for like. It doesn't really affect the big boy tour moving forward. He's
not really in the top 30 of many major categories, Greg. You look at kind of the way he does it. It's actually not really the modern. He's 186th in driving distance. He's 34th in accuracy. So he kind of does it in that way. And he makes a bunch of birdies, but he kind of gives a lot of them back. It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what this kind of does for him, frees him up a bit. But I don't think anybody's necessarily, and I hope I'm wrong, pegging Chad Ramey as like, the next guy to break into the top 20 in the world rankings.
I don't think this is a floodgates situation the way it was for Scottie Scheffler. But he gets his card for 2 years, gets into the Century Tournament of Champions, and it's a big deal for him, and it changes his life, no question about it. When you've been going through Korn Ferry Tour and mini tours, and when you're 29 and you get your first win on the PGA Tour, you have been through some difficult years. So this changes his life. I don't think it changes life on the PGA Tour, but he has a job for the next 2 years now. That's a pretty good paying job if you play well. So it's really good news for Chad Ramey, no question.
The floodgate situation finally happened with Scottie Scheffler, right? We talk about that all.
Yeah, it never happens.
Never happens. I can't even name another guy it happened to.
It's just a dumb thing that we all say, and then it actually happened.
Gets it done. All right. Speaking of getting it done, wow, I've got a one and done update that you, the fans, the listeners, are going to want to stay tuned for. I've got to go through our best bets, but first, we're going to take a quick break and hear a word from our partners. And we're back. I can be very quick on the best bets. 0 for 4. We stink. We each had a group winner. I went with Hoagie. Greg went with Xander. Coach went with Homa. KP went with Lowry. We lost them all.
Great.
Cool.
Unthinkable.
I
mean, how does Xander not get out of that group?
Who came out of there?
Takumi Kanaya. Xander
Lucas
wiped
Herbert.
him in the first round.
Lucas Herbert missed a 3'7" putt or 2'7" putt in that playoff, and Kanaya came out of the group.
Just crazy.
Ouch. I would love to stall, but this is so ugly. I have to move on to the one and done update, which is.
I wish you would have stalled.
I know. Sorry. Here we go. They've done it. They finally done it. The fans went with Scottie Scheffler, and they earned a massive, whopping $2.1 million. They surpassed Kyle. They surpassed Sia. They surpassed myself and even Greg. And they now sit at $3.5 million, fourth in our standings. KP, I'd argue that's a good outcome for you because you weren't the only like now like I'm behind them too.
Yeah, it is a good outcome for me. It's better that they're I mean, it's hard to argue that any outcome here is good for me, but it's better that they're way ahead instead of being like right ahead of me and Sia, or like between me and Sia.
Correct.
I mean, let's not forget here, they're in the mix to win the thing now. This isn't like a race for the cellar kind of deal anymore. This is, I mean, they have now sitting right now where they are, they have a great chance of winning. They haven't used anybody.
It's almost impossible to only have $1.6 million at this point. That's so bad. Like if you just pick the top ranked player in the field every week, you would probably have way more than that.
Yeah, but you'd have you'd be
well,
done.
I don't have anybody left. That's what I'm saying. I've used Morikawa, I've used Rahm, I've used
Russell
Hovland.
Knox.
I used Russell Knox.
You're in trouble. You're in trouble. Jacob. So we actually this was fun because Jacob was on one side of the bracket with Kevin Kisner. The fans were on the other side of the bracket with Scottie Scheffler. So when they battled in the finals, that was an $800,000 swing. Jacob, come on in here. $1.3 million from Kiz. You ride the match play specialist, and look at you cracking through the $5 million mark. And it was just 2 weeks ago that Mark had his $1.4 million lead. He was sniffing himself. He goes on vacation and it's down to less than $200,000.
Look, you can't sleep on Kevin Kisner. Coach tried to do it on the Tuesday preview show. He balked at that pick. It was a bad week for Coach. Bad week from Paul Casey to his one and done pick. I was about to challenge him to a showdown, but just wasn't feeling it. I should have been more confident in it. But I mean, Kisner is such a specialist at this course in particular, like you guys were talking about earlier, that I was frankly shocked that I was the only one who didn't pick him in our league. Because you really circle this week for Kisner. You circle the RSM and then Hilton Head. Like where else is he going to pop? Wyndham, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, he's got some places, but this is, I mean, they got to be the clear-cut favorite.
It's offensive that Coach got 41,000 from Paul Casey, who hit 9 shots, and that's only $17,000 less than Sia got for Max Homa and Kyle got for Shane Lowry.
Yeah. I mean, Max Homa took DJ, the full force of DJ, to the 18th hole.
Brutal. I had Alex Noren 133,000. Greg, you had Sergio Garcia 97,000. So the reason that the dollar amounts are different is, and I think they started doing this a couple of years ago, they now pay out on points. So earning 2 points and not making it out of your group is worth way more than earning a half a point and not making it out of your group.
Right. You go through the whole points and then you see it like a leaderboard, and pay it out that way. So that definitely, it makes sense because there's, you get clipped in the group stage. It shouldn't be everybody shouldn't have the same finishing position. So I like the way they seed that.
And then Mark at the top went with Xander Schauffele, 58,000. So it's tight. So here we go. Mark at 5.2, Jacob at 5 million, Coach at 4 million, the fans at 3.58, Greg at 3.55. I'm at 3.3, Sia Najad, $2 million, Kyle Porter, 1.6 million. And we've got Valero and then another $2 million up top of the Masters.
I might take Bernard Longer for the Masters. Just to mix it up. Nobody else will take him. Hey, I've got a great
lone wolf.
While you guys were talking, I was reading Scheffler's press conference transcript, and I got a great quote from here. Do you want it now, or do you want to wait?
No, let's do it now. Yeah.
Okay, so he said there's a picture of him and his wife, I guess it was his girlfriend at the time, his now wife, in 2016 at the match play. I think the PGA Tour tweeted it out. But he said, yeah, we were pretty fortunate to get he got asked about it. We were fortunate to get some tickets and come out here and watch, which is hilarious for somebody that is now the winner of the event. The tickets were pretty hard to come by, so we were pretty fortunate just to come out here. We used to park at one of my buddies. He lived across the bridge, maybe a half mile up. So we used to park at his house and then walk down. There was no parking. He said, I would always try to watch somebody. So I remember watching Rory hit balls on the range, and I remember hearing the noise that his club head hitting the ball made and being like taken aback. Like, wow, that was hit really solidly. I just remember watching and kind of studying those guys and seeing what I could learn, because there's so many talented guys out here and there's so much I can learn from them that any tidbit I could pick up was going to be beneficial. I thought that was cool. It's very relatable.
Yeah. And now there's a group of people that want to go watch Scottie Scheffler hit it. And they're saying, wow, that was hit solidly.
I saw this
cool.
question in the comments earlier. Does his back foot movement, does that give you anxiety, Greg?
No, not at all. This isn't random. And when you have a coach like Randy Smith who coaches him, this isn't random. This is something that the elite coaches in the game have studied. They know how to optimize it. They know how to use it. And it's one of the biggest the footwork in the game is one of the biggest changes through instruction in the instruction world. And it's something that has been a major factor in the club head speed increases that we've seen as well. They understand how the feet really should work for individuals. And Scottie's it's phenomenal. It's not a flaw.
That was our very own Joe Musso who asked that. Hat tip Joe Musso in the chat.
The Moose.
Yes, that's right. Cool. Anything else, gents, before we get out of here? Or should I declare it Valero Texas Open week?
Yeah, it's Charlie Hoffman week.
There you go. Yeah, Charlie Hoffman. Scottie already withdrew. Spieth is there. Bryson getting some final reps in.
Why did Scottie withdraw? Was it the 122 holes he played this week?
Yeah, and the 2.1 mil, probably cool for a while. Yeah, let's go into Augusta with that. All good.
Sungjae would have played.
That's for sure. All right, gents, that'll do it. Big thanks to producer Jacob doing all the hard work behind the scenes. That right there, Greg DuCharme. You can find him on Twitter at @TheRealGFD, and Kyle Porter, who you can find at Kyle Porter CBS. You can find me at Rick Run Good. This has been The First Cut, and we'll catch you next time.